I changed my ways of thinking. And that's what it boils down to, right? If we don't change our ways of thinking, how can we change our action, right?
Absolutely.
What is going to change? We have all these big dreams and we want to impress this one and that one while we in there and say we're going to do this and do that. And then we come home and within 30 days that everything we talked about in prison doesn't come to fruition, right? We go right back to what we know because we feel like we're a failure.
Yeah.
And with any good thing, and with anybody that knows success, right? And success comes in many forms and stuff. Success, I tell people, can come in the form of just not going back to jail.
Mhm.
It's not like you understand what I mean. Like if you did 10 years and you haven't been in jail in 20 years, that's success. People think success comes in the form of monetary value in your bank account, how many houses or cars and stuff that you have. Yes, that's great, that's beautiful. Those are the things in life that we should all enjoy and want. But at what cost and with what integrity, right? So when you get it, you can appreciate it and value it. And that's where, I love that you hit that part there, my brother, that, you said you educated yourself, you took heed to what people were saying, and you didn't get caught in the masses. For a guy that was so young to be a big guy, right, you would think that you would be a bully. You're going to go up in there, you're going to be, I'm in here for a body and a robbery. I was
Yeah.
running the streets, and Billy, I'm going to stay with that. But you changed your life around. I just wanted to expound on that because that's the part that people miss all the time,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And I just want you to just talk about that release date because I
Mm-hmm.
say that because I don't care what it is. If you got a year, a bullet, what we call down here, Rikers Island in New York City, and you go upstate for a year or 1 to 3, when you come home, it's like you've been gone forever. So to do
Mhm.
10, 15, 20 years, you know what I mean? And to come home that day, how that felt for you, that first day being released from out of
Yeah.
prison, like coming back
Yeah,
into
that I mean,
society.
yeah, that was actually one of the man. Like, I mean, I knew the day would come. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, I knew like it was like life was about to start. So I try not to get too excited, right? Because I've heard too many stories
That's
of
right.
how people went home and they people just wanted to congratulate them, then all of a sudden they were gone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, look, I can't sit here and try to pipe myself up like, yeah, I can't wait to see everybody. I mean, because a part of me said, yeah, I can't wait to see everybody, but then a part of me said, Dad, they're gonna be happy to see me for a little bit, but then after that, they ain't gonna be around, especially when you got to pay bills and all that stuff. And that
Uh-huh.
actually turned out to what it was. So my thing is, I was excited, but at the same time, I was still keeping my guard up too.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I had, my mentor pick me up from the bus station. That was probably like the best part. Like, you know what I'm saying? When he picked me up, then he picked me up in the Escalade, and it was like I was like that, like oh, like this joint. But I want to stay humble too, though.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to stay humble. Like, hold up, you know what I'm saying? You still gotta live life. I still ain't know nothing that was going on. So it was exciting. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't scared, but by no means was I scared because I knew that I was going to be able to survive. By all means, if I had to go to the soup kitchen, to the shelter, whatever, I knew I was going to survive.
That's right.
So, but because I've been through too much inside
And because you prepared before
and
you came
prepared,
home.
yeah, mental
That's
was
right.
there. Like, okay, I got my whole reentry guide right here, but like I literally had to type it out. I had to
And,
literally
and,
type that out before I went before the board. So I
and
had
that's
that
the
ready,
key.
like, and we know things are always subject to change, but
Yeah.
at least you got some type of plan and structure. Plan B, plan C. Hey, okay, cool. You're gonna figure
You
something out
said,
by the time then. You know what I mean?
yeah, and you said it.
Yeah.
You got to stay humble, though. You got
Yeah.
to stay humble. That's what people, every time, and listen, I was having a conversation with one of my bros that's in the Feds last night. He's in the Feds right now. And I was trying to tell him, and he said like the most stupidest oxymoron shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes, I'm like, all right, Shay is Anthony now, right? He goes, yo, I'm proud of you and this, that, and the third, but I'm gonna keep it real, and I come home, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to survive. I said, then don't rush to come home.
Mm.
If anything, what you mean you're gonna do it to survive, you know what
Hmm.
I'm saying, and not be a bum as you call it, not being a bum, because being in jail is being a bum. I don't
Mm.
care
That's
what
right.
you say, you're a bum. right now because you're waiting on somebody else to take care of you, put money on your book to send you a letter. You're being a bump. All right, you're living on 3 hours a cot. I said, take that same energy mode when you come home, right, and put it into something positive. You have the ability, you have the knowledge, you have the capability. You know what it's like to have some money in your pocket, but you just have to learn and practice time, patience, and tolerance. And get humble. Don't come home trying to play catch up. Oh man, before I went to jail, I had the Mercedes, ML 560. Listen, sometimes you may have to ride the five bus. Sometimes you may have to ride the D train and the 4 train.
Absolutely.
Right? Get humble. Get humble. And if you get humble, you're not worrying about what the outside masses are and what they got and what they doing. And you know that your time is going to come with hard work, dedication, and consistency.
Exactly.
You're going to see the fruits of your nature.
See, what happened with him is, and it sounds like to me, is that brother, he hasn't begun to even want to shed that distorted value system that we have. See, that's what it is. It's a distorted value system we grow up with. You have to shed it. You've been able to do that. Y'all too, including myself and others, been able to do that because when you can show me that you begin preparing while incarcerated, preparing for your future after incarceration, you show me a man that's shedding that distorted value system.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so deep and innate within us.
And another thing, one of the biggest things, as he correctly said, that through that humility, because I tell people all the time, even throughout some of my podcasts, that I had to walk in the snow, I had to walk in the rain, I had to, it was a lot of things I had to do because, see, what people do is they start comparing themselves to people that's already been living, people that's been already out here going through the ringer, they came up on the car, whatever the case may have been, but. And you got to remember that, look, stuff doesn't come overnight. Like, I didn't even get my first car till like a year later. Like, you know what I'm saying? A year or some change later, after I got my license. And I had a 1999 Chevy Lumina. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it definitely is not easy. But when I look back on it, I always tell people, I said, rock bottom is going to teach you lessons that the mountaintop can't. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them cats that's up top or had everything given to them and all that, if they turned around and lost everything, they wouldn't know how to get it back because it was just given to them. But if you build yourself up, like I had to work retail, you know what I'm saying? I had to work little factories and stuff like that. This is before I started businesses and things like that. So a lot of people don't understand. My first job was at a daycare. I was security, and I was a maintenance man. You know what I'm saying? But it was a start. It was something.
That's right.
Must have been a rough daycare, yo.
Yeah,
must have been a rough daycare.
Yeah. Just making sure the right parents come in, not open the door for everybody. You got to be, because it was in the middle of the hood. It was definitely in the middle of the hood. So you had to be like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes things can escalate, with parents and stuff like that, and the teachers and stuff, so. But yeah, it was so it was like one of those days, man. I look back on it like, dang, I'm glad I did go through the things I went through because I want to learn to appreciate it.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how we gotta look at it, man. That's how we gotta look at it.
And so you just begin to talk about that. If you could expound on that more, with you coming home now and getting those little odd jobs and where you at now, what you doing, if you could.
Cool. Yeah. So me coming home, it was more, okay, I got to focus. It actually took me like literally, I was so zoned out, you know what I'm saying? Like it might sound crazy, but it literally took me 2 years to even start dating. Like, man, these women was after me like crazy, like the daycare women. I'm talking about, they had big booties and everything. Like the teacher, they was all after me, but I was focusing on life. Like I was focusing like, yo, I can't mess up. Nice. I got to focus, I got to go to church. I got to, do things, because by this time I was strong in my faith, you know what I'm saying, with God, you know what I mean? Then on top of that, mind you, I was a musician. I'm a piano player. I play the organ. Then on top of that,
man, many hats.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, so that was really attracting a lot of the women and stuff like that, which was cool. But at that time, I couldn't lose my focus. Like I was saying, that I can't lose my focus. I got to really stay focused because these girls, they come and knock me off my square. So next thing you know, I kept doing that, and when I stayed focused, things started building gradually. And then I was able to start venturing out and things like that. And you know what I'm saying? Dating here, da 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 da. But I was still keeping focused though. I said, okay, I got accomplishments. I got to launch these books. I got to do this. I got to launch some program. So it was still things that was going on, but I was able to live. But I had to keep. It was one of those things where I had to zone out. So, of course, like I said, jumping job to job because there was times where I was working minimum wage, $7.15. You know what I'm saying? $7.15 an hour. Then going, to other jobs. The next thing you know, start doubling and tripling. You know what I mean? So here it was. I was working, and on top of that, I was teaching people music. You know what I'm saying? Because I learned, like I said, I learned music while I was in prison. So I learned to read it, write it. I could play by ear, any type of style. So now, mind you, so everything that I was in charge of in there, like far as me being in charge of the regular Protestant choir, the Spanish choir, I was doing so many different things that I was able to implement them out here. So now, me going through that, I was able to form a business out of that sector, as far as me teaching music, contracting music, playing at churches, playing at different, events, jazz, whatever the case may have been. And then not only did I just form a business out of it, but I was able to form a type of demand that's not common because I play different styles. I'm not one dimensional. You see what I'm saying? Like I could play the gospel music, I could play the corridos, I could play the, in the Jamaican and the African. So I was everywhere. So now it was higher demand, but that was just one sector. And then I turned around, was able to start. I purchased like a property, you know what I'm saying, which happened to be a multi-unit at one point. You know what I'm saying? Then then things started gradually. Like, okay, now I can purchase another property and get your money work. So a lot of this stuff was coming from trial and error because nobody was really teaching me hands-on. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to do that, started forming that. Like I said, then once I launched the book, and I was able to form a business through that by doing the motivational speaking in different places, keynotes, teaching workshops, and things like that. So it's like definitely like a well-rounded way that I had to go about things because again, I wasn't trying to definitely not, work the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? But again, having a 9-to-5 thing like that is cool. It's definitely good. And, especially if you got good feet. If all was to go wrong or something like that, of course, I would have to get a 9-to-5, but I know which ways to get it now. You know what I'm saying? Now from the experience I've been through, I know what to do to get it back.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
You gotta crawl before you walk.
You gotta crawl before you can walk, and all the different places. Because mind you, I've been away for a lot of years, so it's just impossible to know everything or a lot of things that's out here. So I had to live a little bit. The next thing you know, things started coming. So now I can know different strategies and how to get to $1. You know what I'm saying?